If we were cutting a ribbon or breaking ground, Mrs. Springer was right there saying, that's my student. I taught her in kindergarten. And so when you have teachers such as Mrs. Springer, when you have parents such as my parents, I mean, the only thing that you can do is just soar to the heights. My Mrs. Springer gave me a little figurine for my birthday. I won't say which birthday it was, but she came to my birthday party. It was a surprise birthday party, and there was my kindergarten teacher there. And it was a little glass figurine of a lady reaching for the stars. Wow. And I keep that in my office. She's just always been there for me, just like my parents had. And that was my first teacher.
And I like that. You just opened up a piece of history. Miss Springer is a phenomenal woman.
Yes.
She had two of my children and my one daughter, and I remember she was raising her granddaughter Nikki that was hearing impaired, and she is now. See, thank you for that. That's why you're sitting in that chair, and I appreciate you bringing that.
I had to pick one, so I said I would stick with being a doctor, but that's always been in my mind. I wanted to soar. I wanted to be an astronaut and a doctor. And so one of my bucket list items was to meet Dr. Mae Jemison, an African-American doctor and astronaut.
Right.
So I got to meet her and take a picture with her, and I was so excited. I could not believe that I got to check off one of the things on my bucket list.
Well, that's awesome. Well, actually, too, you're a doctor and right? So that's awesome. And it's funny because that was one of the things in the story is that you see women going into the nursing field, but in terms of what they had to do to become doctors, that was a long road, and it was a difficult road because there was one lady who even mentioned that even in the classroom that the professor always called on the male students and not on her.
Well, one thing about going to historically black colleges and universities, there was more of a brother and sister feel to being in the classroom and being surrounded by professors who were trying to bring out the best in all of their students, regardless as to their gender. So that was something that I really appreciated in being at one of the historically black colleges and universities.
Now we have Mom sitting there for just a minute, and Mom, I just want one of those little stories that you have of Janet growing up. I'm pretty sure you got quite a few, but could you just share with our listening audience one of those little Janet Seabrook when I was younger stories?
The one I remember that's really funny was she would go around saying, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a doctor. And one of her sister got a white poster board and made a stick figure as a doctor and put up on there, I want to be a doctor. And we kept that for a long time. Yes.
That's cute. Yeah. So it was actually ingrained in you that this is what I'm going to be and this is what I'm going to do. Now, you go on to graduate. You did your residency. Okay, I'm going to get this right in a minute. Too early in the morning. You did your residency. And then did you go into just individual practice or did you go just straight for the job?
Well, a little background. Medical school is not inexpensive. And I did my first 2 years and the loans were getting to be too much. So I laid off for a year. I worked in the Gary Public School District as a substitute teacher to help kind of defray some of the costs and also to look at ways to figure out how I was going to go back to medical school. And I was able to do some research at one of the Gary libraries and find information about the National Health Scholarship that helps students pay for medical school. And so I was able to apply and receive scholarship to finish out my last 2 years at Meharry. It also paid a stipend, a living allowance, paid for microscopes and lab coats and lab jackets. So I mean, it was everything. The only thing about National Health Service School, and I didn't have a problem with it, you have to go into primary care, which I determined that I was already going to do that anyway. And you have to work at a community health center in an underserved area. Well, I finished medical school and I finished residency at Methodist Hospital, family practice training program. And I was hired at a community health center on the south side of Chicago in the Roseland neighborhood. And at that time, the report came out that Gary was the neediest city in the United States without a community health center. I was also serving on the board of the Gary Health Department, and the request for proposals to start community health centers came to the Gary Health Department. So I worked with the staff of the Gary Health Department to write the first grant to get funding from the state to start the health center. I was still working in Chicago, driving to Chicago every day to see patients, and amazingly, there were patients that were coming from the Gary area to go to this health center that I worked at because we did not have a health center. And that was really one of the determining factors that really set my mind when that proposal came out, that this was something that was really needed in the city, and I wanted to do everything that I could within my powers to help the city get a community health center. So everything the stars kind of aligned. It was really, excuse me, timely when the proposal came out, because I had worked at the Chicago Health Center. At that time it was called Claretian. It's now Chicago Family Health Center. And so in working and kind of figuring out, this is what it takes, this is what you have to do, this is how it's set up, that actually gave me the base or the platform to know what was needed to start our health center now. And so fast forward 20 years later, here we are. One of the things that happened in coming back after we received the grant funding to start the health center was that the National Health Service Corps notified me that I needed to be seeing patients, and I couldn't necessarily just be doing administrative work, and we had to really double our efforts to get started really quickly so that I would be able to start reducing my time and payback to the National Health. But you know what, in looking back, I basically said when I saw that letter that, we're going to take our time, we're going to do it right, we want to make sure we set it up right, so when the time comes to apply for federal funding that we would be in a better position to do so. So I got some pushback, received another notice that they had stopped counting my time as payback until we actually physically started seeing patients. And it took about a year, and I was okay with that. And the next 3 years went by very quickly, and I was able to get my certificate saying that I had completed my time and duty as a National Health Scholarship recipient. So it delayed my service repayment, but it didn't really faze me that much because I had to prioritize, what was needed at the time. And I felt that if I did not work with the people at the health department, the staff at the health department, and the city and the hospital and the other stakeholders at the table, and I really was the only one that really had the time and had the, baseline skills to be able to actually put the efforts together.
So when you opened up the door, or you opened up your first building, tell me what that was like.
We started out in a trailer in Glen Park off of 47th Avenue. 3 exam rooms, just a trailer behind the church. So, the patients had to really be dedicated to want to come and see a doctor in the trailer. But from there, we just took small baby steps until we were able to get more funding from the state to build our building on 5th Avenue. And that came with state funding, and we're very happy to say that there are not too many health centers, particularly in the Northwest Indiana area, that can say that they received capital funding from the state of Indiana to build a building. And a nice building on top of that.
Very nice, very nice. Now, you continue on, and there are other centers. Let's talk about how that all came to fruition.
Well, as we started to grow and expand, we realized that there was a need for patients to have other sites to be able to access, to have the access that they needed to the services that we had. And so we just reached out to other community partners and stakeholders, the Lake Ridge School District, to put a health center inside of Calumet High School. And moving forward from there, we talked to the city of Hammond. They were planning on closing their health department and were looking for other resources. And we decided that we needed to have a location in Hammond as well. So we moved into the Ophelia Steen building and started providing health services in the Ophelia Steen building in Hammond off of Columbia Avenue. And started having some broader conversations with physicians who were firmly rooted in Gary. Dr. Steve Simpson with his office on Shelby Street. Just having real in-depth conversations with Dr. Simpson about joining Community HealthNet and allowing his pediatric location in Hammond to become one of our satellite offices. And so in doing that and bringing Dr. Simpson aboard as an employee of Community HealthNet, with the visibility and the work that he's done in the community, has really been just a blessing to the health center. He trained me in pediatrics as a resident here at Methodist Hospital. He trained most, if not all, of the physician providers that are at the health center. So we looked at that as a benefit and a plus to have his expertise in pediatrics as a part of our health center. And then also taking a page from that book, talked very in-depth with Dr. Brenda Thompson, another pediatrician who has strong ties to the Gary and Maryville area, and really working with Dr. Brenda Thompson and her staff and bringing her aboard to our 61st Avenue location. So just really strategically looking at ways to make sure that our patients would have well-rounded services that they needed in any area of the city and surrounding cities that they wanted to receive services, and just kind of progressively growing from there and looking at ways to bring additional services to our patient population. But basically that's how we got to the 5 locations, just really strategically looking at ways that to bring those additional resources to our patient population.
Okay, and all with the brainchild of Dr. Janet Seabrook sitting here, and it's been quite a journey and a very interesting journey. And as I said, I've watched you, and you run a tight ship. I do say that you're into the administrative end. You know about the branch, you know to get the dollars, and you know what's required, and you make it look easy.
It is definitely a challenge to do the work, but I think that when you surround yourself with smart people who are also dedicated to the mission, and when you have, like I said, parents, when you have family, sisters, friends that come out and support and that are there for you, it really makes those challenges not quite as challenging.
And I understand there's a new center in the works.
Yes, we're so excited. We are going to have a groundbreaking, fingers crossed, in April at our 6th location. That will be in Glen Park, going back to our roots, but off of 35th Avenue and Martin Luther King Drive. Directly across the street from the Career Center and kind of cat-a-corner to Ivy Tech.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All from this little girl who said she wanted to be a doctor.
And at that location, we're going to cram in a little under 10,000 square feet. We're going to cram in primary care services, family medicine, pediatrics, OB, behavioral health, and dental and optometry.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're just really excited. So this location, although it will be smaller than our Fifth Avenue location, this location is going to be jam-packed with services.
Well, that's your signature piece, Fifth Avenue. It's the one you signed out on, but that sounds like a beautiful edifice. Now, is it more than one floor, or is it just going to be a single?
Right now, it's just going to be one level because it's just it's a lot more expensive to build a big building than it was when we built the health center, almost 15 years ago? Oh my God, it's so much more expensive. You can't get 30,000 square feet for $3.2 million anymore. Try double that. So we had to cut down on the square footage.
Do you consider yourself an anomaly? An anomaly, do you consider yourself one?
I consider myself someone who is determined and someone who doesn't take.
I don't know if that's recorded.
You can't do that.
No. The word is no.
You might just you don't
Because
have no audio.
I was told this is the third time, 1970s, 1980s, and then late 1999. But this is the third effort. This was the third effort to get a health center going, and people just would come up to me and say, "You don't know the history. You don't know what happened in the 70s. You don't know what happened in the 80s. This is going to fail. You can't do that. That will not work in Gary." I was told that repeatedly, over and over again.
Wow. Well, you proved them wrong. You went in the region, Hammond, Maryville, just all over your services, and you spread centers to help other people. And with that, I need to call Dr. Marion Williams. Is he in the house? Here. Yes. We have a little bit of a surprise for you.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. In honor, in commemoration, in honor of Black History Month, we wanted to present you with a little something. And Dr. Williams, if you could go over there on the other side, that's my phone. I never need it. Oh, he's gonna stay here and talk on the
I
microphone.
want to hear into the microphone. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to say something very nice to you in commemoration of Black History Month for 2017. This is our very first. WLTH AM 1370 recognizes Dr. Janet Seabrook for her outstanding contribution to the health and welfare of the citizens of Northwest Indiana. We're very proud to present this as our very first award for someone you should know in the region. Thank you for the contribution.
Thank
You want to
you.
hand it to her? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Seabrook. We really appreciate all you do here in the community. We want to thank you for the partnership and for having a show here on WLTH in terms of your health matters. You do so much.
I'm going to get you, Natalie. I am.
You gonna get me?
How can you make my makeup run first thing in the morning? That's not cute.
Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank your mom for helping me out too. And in case you didn't know yet, she was in on it, so don't only get her as well.
Okay. You guys got me. You really got me. I had no idea. This is such a surprise, and I don't do what I do to receive any awards or accolades. I do the work that I do because the citizens of this area deserve the same type of services that everyone else does.
Okay.
They should not have to travel outside of their area to get quality health services and medical care. I just believe that wholeheartedly. I've traveled and I've visited a lot of places, and to go to Chicago or Indianapolis or Dallas, Texas, and almost every neighborhood has a health center, and they have a resource for that patient population. and then to come home to Gary and you see people having to go outside of the area for services that they have the right to receive within their community. So that's why I do what I do.
Well, we certainly appreciate you for it. I mean, young, dynamic, the dream, the vision, and it's all there, and you're carrying it out and you're following through on everything. And that's why I thought it was important. And as I said, as I watched that show, it was like you just kept coming to mind because, as you mentioned about pointing toward the stars or pointing toward the sky, and that's what you do. And as I said, I've been in meetings and I watch you conduct yourself, and it's about the business, and as you said, it's about the people. So that's why, the first recipient for our Black History Month, and we want people to recognize and realize what people in this region do. And yeah, it's a labor of love for you, but it's a true testament to your character and what you do.
I can't, there are no words to express how I feel right now. You just don't know. This really means a lot. But like I said, I have to go back and say I don't do the things that I do for recreation. I do them because they need to be done.
Well, we want to thank you for that dream, and also want to thank your mom and dad for being there and for all of the things that they put into your spirit and for never giving up. And with that, I do have to go to my phone lines really quickly. I'm going to give the audience a